Especially when we don't talk about people on our own side of the aisle. Chuck Schumer was very wrong in what he said, and my colleague held up the quote. I've actually seen that quote. I've lost count of how many times my colleagues have raised that quote. But you know what they never say? Is that he came out and apologized for it. That Chuck Schumer, using self-interrogation, said, I was wrong. I've never seen the President of the United States who has spoken about punching people in the face, who has said a lot of violent rhetoric, has never given that type of self-interrogation.
You know, I think Senator Booker made a good point just a moment ago when he said we have to self-examine, we have to be introspective. And, you know, I can't help but think of a line today. Jay Jones has the vision, commitment, and integrity to keep families safe and make sure every Virginian gets a fair shake in the justice system. I'll be working every day to ensure Jay wins this race. That's the endorsement of Senator Booker for a man who would seek to be the Attorney General of Virginia. This is a man who, if people have not been reading the news, has called for a Republican to be murdered, for his children to be murdered, for the children to die in their mother's arms in order to persuade the Republican to change his policy views, and a man who says that he would urinate on the graves of multiple Republicans. Senator Booker, in this spirit of introspection, is standing by this endorsement. So I suppose I would invite, well, perhaps I should have looked, because Senator Booker has left the room, and I think I can guess why.
If you thought that law enforcement was the answer to this problem, Donald Trump wouldn't be cutting the budget of police across the country to the tune of billions of dollars. Like, that wouldn't be happening. So you don't really have a
increase the law enforcement budget.
First of all, that's not true, which is what just took place in his budget.
He did. That was the big beautiful bill. That was one of the key provisions of the big beautiful bill.
That is absolutely untrue. So you don't even have this like cogent theory of policing or law enforcement that you want to see carried out.
Your argument is that the big beautiful bill did not increase law enforcement funding at the federal level.
Donald Trump has cut again in
Congressman, could you please clarify for our confused liberal friend here?
We need to have a long-term solution to this, and that is only by reinforcing our local law enforcement. That's what we need to do.
Congressman, did the big beautiful bill increase federal law enforcement funding?
Again, the point, Congressman, is whether in the big beautiful bill there was an increase or a decrease in federal spending for law enforcement. Which one was it?
Well, there was an increase, but look.
Okay, so then again, I come back to Jack. So Jack, your fellow left winger on the panel has just contradicted you and said, "Well, hang on, Congressman, hang on."
Yeah.
Jack, you've just heard there from a Democratic congressman that the big beautiful bill actually increased federal spending on law enforcement. The opposite of what you just said.
I think he's misspeaking. Donald Trump has done nothing to increase police budgets.
He's
Donald Trump doesn't really care.
I don't think he's
misspeaking.
I think one person's misspeaking here, and it may be you.
It's not. There's nothing that Donald Trump has done to actually, one second, there's nothing that Donald Trump, the supposed back the blue guy, has done to support police in this country. He doesn't actually care. It's a gimmick. It's a game. Michael, I know you're familiar with that. It's fine. But Donald Trump doesn't care. If he did, he wouldn't have pardoned 1,500 cop-beating insurrectionists to go out and reoffend and reoffend. If you want to talk about crime in this country and who's being let loose on the streets, I think Donald Trump is allowing that to happen more than any other single person in this country. So I don't really know how you could make the case that this administration cares about policing, cares about crime, cares about law enforcement, when every action that they have publicly taken and celebrated is to the opposite of that argument, Michael.
Yeah, I guess there are very few things that Democrat congressmen and I agree on, but what Congress just did in President Trump's big, beautiful bill would happen to be one of them, and it's that he's increased federal law enforcement funding. So, I don't know where your confusion comes from, but it's manifest.
Mamma mia, pizzeria, Michael Knowles is smarter than you.
Not everyone was upset when you were fired. Plenty of those white conservative men that you like so much seem quite happy. Let's just take a look at this clip.
Joy Reid, probably the nastiest figure on MSNBC. The most left, the most vicious against conservatives and white people and men and all the rest. She has just been canned, fired, kicked to the side of the road. Her show is over. This saddens me a little bit because I did not yet have the opportunity to go on it. I am celebrating that there is no longer a market for her disgusting product. That's what I'm genuinely happy about. There has been a major shift. Her show and shows like her show no longer have value. And that's not just because of Joy Reid's favorite villains, you know, the evil white man or the Christians or the conservatives. It's because, like, no one watches her show.
So, Joy, I've actually got Michael Knowles waiting in the wings.
Great.
Is there anything you'd like to say to him?
No.
What did you make of his critique of your show?
Well, I mean, the reality is that obviously people watched the show, and obviously that's the reason that the show was on for 4.5, nearly 5 years. So if he didn't like the show, I guess, sorry you didn't enjoy it, but I really am not that interested in his views on it.
Wonderful to be here, Joy. Very nice to meet you. And I guess I would agree with Joy's take. People watched the show in the past tense, and now there's no longer a market for that absolutely vile content. And I think that's good for the culture broadly.